Hello friends, welcome to another video, and this video is about Nssa. So before we configure the totally stubby and stub, meant to filter the LSA type 5, which was the external routes, and originate a default route to maintain the reachability of other routes of other networks in the other areas. And totally stubby even took a step further, and then it just filtered LSA type 3. So as if we go back to R4 right now, show IB route Ospf, we only have a default route, inter area default route, because we reduced our size to a point where it has a 0 routes, but only a default route. Okay, now what is the Nssa benefit? The Nssa benefit is, for if we have a stub or totally stubby here, and configured in area 1 right now. So for example, if let me write down here, stub, we are on stub on this router, on this area. Okay, so if we since stub or totally stubby filter is and sending and receiving external type 5, and what we would encounter, we cannot have an ASPR who redistributed the network. If we have here a router that is redistributing the network, R4 would not receive it, because it will filter it to take it out. It will filter to update to the other. It will not allow it is stub area the external LSA or external routes to come into this area. That is why we cannot have ASPR for that reason, and the solution has become an Nssa. The Nssa allows the networks to come into the area and also advertise it, but it just changes the code which is E2 by default. It changes from E2 to N2 while they are in a external while they are in the Nssa area. And when the border router, which is in this case R2, it is translating, it is advertising these routes into the other areas, such as area 0 now. And if we have and if this area 1 is not configured as a stub, it will advertise as well, but it would advertise as external type 2, which is by default. Okay, so, and also the other benefit, the Nssa, you wanted another situation that you do not want to receive. Look, you want to send an update, you want to send your route updates, the external updates to the other areas, but you do not want to receive any redistributed area. Sorry, any redistributed routes that to come into your Nssa. So it is just a solution for the stub, because if the stub, we cannot have an ASPR redistributing router, we cannot have a redistributing, we cannot have a redistributing router to be part of the stub or totally stubby area, because this stub or totally stubby filter is type 5, and for that reason the external type 2 external type 2 routes or external type 5 LSA will not go across on the stub area. So the Nssa has become a solution. So Nssa will allow, by changing the code to ON2 instead of E2, OE2 instead of OE2. Now this one will be, the external behind the external, the redistributed route is behind the and behind area 10 or behind the NSS area will be propagated and into the other area, because they will stay in the NSSA as an N code, ON2. They will stay they will stay in the NSSA area as ON2, but when they are going to another area like area 0, because this one is already being filtered, so nothing is coming up, is coming down to here. Just the default route. Default route is just maintaining the reachability, but in this case in area 0 will receive just a normal E2 routes, because this guy is gonna translate it. So how to configure? Or let us do the redistribute first. Router Ospf, because I have RIB and I have R7. Let me check R7. Show IB interface brief. I have a route is configured in R7, loopback routes, and then I advertised this into RIB. So I advertised it into RIB, and R5 is receiving as RIB routes. Show. So now we have a RIB routes here. So now R2 also it has OSPF routes as well. Do show OSPF routes. It has OSPF routes as well. It is running OSPF R5. R5 is running OSPF and it's a part of area 10, and it is running RIB. So it's gonna do the redistribution now. Okay. So now if I go to, I want to see that. So if I go now to router 5 and I say redistribute RIB subnets, then we'll see in R2 it will receive all these 7 routes, 77, 78, 79, it will receive now. Show IB route OSPF as an external route, because now I have not configured as an NSSA yet. I'm just the normal circumstances how it will look. I'm just showing you like normally how it will look before we configure as an NSSA. Okay. So now R2 has as a normal E2, and it will have as a normally later on it will have as M2 when we configure as NSSA. But now any 77 or 78 or 79, they all have E2 normally. Okay, so if I go back to R5 and I just say area 10 is NSSA, and the flag, it has a flag, I mean they must agree that they are NSSA. So I have to go to R2 because R5 connects to R2. So I would go to router OSPF1 and say area 10 NSSA. Now it will come, adjacency will come back up. So now if I go to R2, before I had E2 79, E2. I have all the routes coming from R7 through the R5 through the redistribution. They have an E2 before I change it to NSSA. So now let me show route. Now they became as an N routes. That's what I was telling you, as an N routes. All the routes coming from R5 now, from R7 now, and R5 is redistributing. They all have ON2. That's what I was talking about. ON2. That's what they have. ON2. Okay. So what about now? Are they going to be? Are they being redistributed to area 0. Let me check. Let me go to R1. So show IB route Ospf. Show IB route Ospf. Yes, they are, and they have E2 code. E2 code, because this guy is just translating LSA type 7 to type 5. How can we verify? We can verify show by command, by issuing this command show IB Ospf, and underneath here we will have it will even tell us that the area let me just, it will even tell, it says like perform LSA type 7 to type 5 LSA translation, and also it tells us that we are there's this area is an NSSA area, and the number of interfaces is 1, because we are on R2, we have that interface only as an NSSA area. Okay, that's how it is. So now we advertised our network through R1. So the ASBR, the ASBR in here, the redistributing router is ASBR. This ASBR here, it just I mean the routes that are redistributed safely because they went to Ospf area 0. Okay, now if we were behind R4, which is a router stub router, we could not get that chance because our information is cannot go across stub area, so it is blocked. But Nssa is the solution for that. Cool. So we have another problem. Another problem. So if we have, for example, show run router on R1. R1 it has a one network that has been redistributed, which is show IB interface brief, which is 1111. This okay. Can this 1111? Let me just write in here. We have 11/32. Cool. Yeah. Can this 11 network make into NSSA area? Okay, let us go R5, because R5 is a member of area 10. Show IB route Ospf. No, I cannot make it. Can I ping 11? No, I can't. The reason why, because NSSA, it allows you to advertise this network by changing the E code to N code, and also when it is going out of the ABR translates, because area 0 or any other area it connects, it will not understand the NON code, so it changes to the normal E code. So all these routes will make into the other area, but the route is coming in, the external route is that is coming in into the area, into the NSS area, will be blocked by the ABR, because that's the NSSA behavior. So what we can do now, there is another type of extension of NSSA, because Stub had an extension NSSA, but this one has NSSA has another extension. It's called NSSA Stub. It has a two extension. One is totally not so stubby NSSA, NSSA, and this one now NSSA Stub. So NSSA Stub becomes now handy to have reachability on this guy, on this network, because now on R5 cannot reach whatsoever. So how can we make the reachability? What we can do, the ABR, which is here, what we are going to do now, we're going to and also we are configuring NSSA Stub as well, yeah, because that command will make NSSA as NSSA Stub. So we're gonna go to router Ospf1. We're gonna say area 10 and NSSA and then we are going to do default information. Default information originate on that guy right there, and that will create ON2 default route for us. So if I go to R5, it will show me ON2. Look, ON2, which is external default route, which will give us the reachability on the networks that we didn't use to reach before. We couldn't reach before. So that's called an Nssa stub. You got me? So now let me just add one more Nssa stub so we can finish the area types, and that is called the other extension, and it's called Nssa totally stubbing. Totally stubbing. So what Nssa totally stubbing does, or like some people call like TSSA totally stubbing, not so stubby area. So what this one does, it instead of having this this default information originate and creating this default route and creating this external default route, what we can do, we can take a step further. We can take a step further like a totally stubby. So what we can use now, we can filter inter-area routes plus the external routes. Before now, we filtered Nssa. Filtered LSA type 5, which was like on this guy right here that has been redistributed into the Ospf by R1, and then we used the Nssa stub. So we said like Nssa area 10 Nssa default information originate. So that has become Nssa stub, and that allowed us to have a reachability on that network. But now we don't even need Nssa stub default route if we use Nssa totally stubby area, because Nssa totally stubby will do two things for us. One, it will filter type 5. Second, it will originate a default route, which is inter-area route. And the third, it will filter inter-area routes. So let us, to prove that, let me go to, and then let me just take this one out. We don't need Nssa, we don't need this Nssa stub right now, that we solved the problem that we were not getting the information outside, that we were not getting we could not get this network to make into router 1, into area 10. So now I would say area 10 Nssa and no summary, because totally stubby had a no summary and this one has a no summary. So if we go to R5 now, not only we only have inter-area default route. So we filter it, we even reduced our size from external. We filter external routes, we filter inter-area routes, and we originated a default information, default route, which is inter-area route. So I hope this has been informative, and I see you on the next lecture.